Short story number 4, Never Thought It Would Be Me by Matthew McKenzie. It was such a dreary day. Dark and with all the rain coming down. Bella looked out of the window, watching the rain-drenched garden. She saw people running up and down the road, trying to escape the rain. Obviously, it was no good because they were still getting wet. It had been raining on and off for several days now, with no change in sight. Bella sighed.
When is this rain going to end?
Bella had so many things to do. She was trying to save energy by wanting to dry clothes outside. She also wanted to do some gardening, but did not want to get soaked doing the weeding. Bella had not gone for a long walk for a while now. The weather was putting her off.
This is depressing. Nothing on TV, raining all day long, no one to call. What do I do now? Go back to bed?
Bella thought to herself. Bella sat down with a grumpy face. She felt her day was being wasted again. She thought perhaps she could go to work on her day off. At least it would keep her occupied. There still was quite a lot to do at the office, and hardly anyone was in. So it might be a good idea to go to work. Just then, Bella's house phone started ringing. Bella quickly got up to answer the phone.
Perhaps it is one of my friends. It would be nice to chat.
Bella quickly picked up the phone and put it to her ear.
Yes, who is this?
Bella smiled.
Is this Bella? Bella Russo?
The voice spoke from the other end of the line. Bella's face dropped since she was expecting a call from a friend. She wondered if this would be a sales call or a scam call, and she was ready to hang up.
Yes, I am Bella. What can I help you with?
Bella uttered in a low voice.
Forgive me for all the questions. Is your husband's name Antonio?
Yes, what's going on?
Bella replied. She knew immediately that this call could be bad news. Bella gripped the phone tightly to ensure she did not drop the phone.
I am sorry, I am afraid he's been in an accident. It was a bike crash. Would you be able to see him at St. John's Hospital?
Oh my God. No.
Bella shouted. She continued to ask down the phone.
How serious?
I am not sure, but if you can come to the hospital, we can brief you from there.
The voice replied. Bella nearly fainted. She wanted something to happen, but not this. Bella did not say goodbye and struggled to put the phone back on its phone base. She rushed around looking for her car keys and almost forgot to change into her shoes as she ran out the door. She returned to grab her coat and shoes and ran to the car. Her left shoe was not on correctly and came off the side of the road. Bella rushed to pick up her shoe and placed her foot back in the shoe. She jumped in the car, looked to check for oncoming cars, and quickly sped off. Her eyes started to mist as she started crying. Antonio, her husband, had been busy working nights doing delivery pickups. She knew Antonio would be too tired to work days again. Bella could remember shouting at her husband to stay and rest, but he had to go out to pay the bills. The cost of energy was getting too high. Bella thought it must be that he was too tired to drive on the road, leading to losing control of his bike and crashing in the rain. Bella cried as she jumped a red light.
Why did he go? Why did he damn well go out? Especially in this rain? I hate him for doing this to me.
Other car drivers saw what Bella did on the road and started honking their car horns. Bella heard the sounds of the other cars, but she just did not care. The only thing on her mind was if Antonio was struggling to stay alive. Soon Bella was at the hospital looking for somewhere to park. It was difficult to spot any parking space. Bella was still crying, making it difficult to see. Bella managed to find somewhere to park and took the spot. She did not even park the car correctly, and she jumped out of the car. Clutching her bag, she ran to the hospital emergency entrance. There was no queue at the reception desk, so Bella rushed straight up.
Did you have recently brought someone here called Antonio Russo?
Bella tried to calm herself to no avail.
Let me check for you, one moment.
The receptionist quickly brought up the hospital patient record system and found Antonio was recently been admitted to the hospital. The receptionist then looked up at Bella.
Yes, he is in Ward 12, just down the corridor and up on the 4th floor.
Thank you,
Bella said as she hurriedly walked off. The hospital receptionist said something else, but Bella was too far away to hear. As she continued down the hospital corridor, everything became a blur. She was looking for the stairs or lift to go up to the 4th floor. Someone sitting outside in the corridor noticed Bella and said things would be okay. Do not panic. Bella looked at them and asked where the stairs to Ward 12 could be.
You are not far. Ward 12 is just further down the corridor to your left.
Bella rushed off down the corridor and opened the door to go upstairs. She saw the lift, but did not bother to call them. As Bella ran upstairs, she suddenly felt sick. Bella was wondering what she would do when she finally reached her husband. Horrible images of Antonio lying on the hospital bed flashed in Bella's mind. Each vision worse than before. Bella could not shut the images out. Maybe Antonio was dying. Bella eventually reached the 4th floor and noticed the signs pointing to Ward 12. Bella put the face mask on, which was difficult because of gasping for air from panicking and rushing everywhere. So she took the face mask off again. Bella pressed the ward entry button to be let in. It must have taken an eternity as Bella waited patiently. She pressed the buzzer again, waited, and pressed again for the 3rd time. Finally, someone opened the door.
Who are you here to see?
The nurse spoke to Bella.
Antonio, I was told he was admitted to this ward.
Bella cried, trying to wipe tears from her eyes.
Oh, okay. Are you a relative?
Yes, I am his wife.
Can you wait here a moment? Please take a seat. I will get the ward doctor to come see you.
Will you be long?
Bella sat down, looking up at the nurse.
I am sure we won't be long, but we are very busy. The ward doctor will be out in a moment.
The nurse then closed the door quietly. Bella, although upset, felt glad to be sitting down. She was exhausted. She probably would have fainted from the awful experience if she had not sat down. Bella's mind was racing. She wondered what to do if the doctor told her the worst. Bella rested her chin in her hands in deep thought, trying to work out how she could cope.
What do I do now? I never thought this would happen.
Bella thought to herself. Bella looked into her bag and checked her phone, and there was still a good signal and enough battery power. She picked up her mobile phone and called her daughter. It was not long before her daughter, Lucia, answered the phone.
Hello, Mama. I will be home soon.
Lucia, are you alone? Are you sitting down?
What do you mean?
Lucia replied.
It's Dad. He's been in an accident.
What?
The phone fell silent for a minute as Bella tried to regain her composure. She was not sure how to break the news to her daughter.
How bad? Where are you now?
Lucia asked down the phone.
I don't know how bad. I have just reached the hospital. Luckily, it was close by. I am at St. John's Hospital.
Okay, wait there. I am coming.
Bella tried to calm her daughter down.
Wait, Lucia, I am here. Just finish your work and come after.
It's okay. Which ward are you in?
Bella did not respond, hoping Lucia would give up asking, but she changed her mind in the end. She thought it would just be unfair, and to be honest, Bella needed the company.
Which ward, Mama?
Bella sighed.
Ward 12, it's on the 4th floor. Lucia, I am here. Just a couple of hours. You should be able to come. I am not even sure 2 visitors are allowed.
The call then ended abruptly. Bella knew Lucia had hung up and was preparing to rush over to the hospital. Bella felt guilty. She wondered why she told her daughter in the first place because Lucia would only worry. It was pointless telling Lucia not to come to visit the hospital. Bella felt it would have been better to tell Lucia later on in the day, so they could take turns visiting the hospital. Bella knew how Lucia was very close to Antonio. They got on very well, and he was always there for his daughter. For Lucia to visit and see him is what Antonio would have wanted anyway. Bella's mind started to flash back to how Antonio cared for their daughter. She remembered the time when Antonio would visit Lucia at school when she was young. He attended all the school functions. Antonio encouraged Lucia to do well in education and always helped Lucia with her schoolwork. Just then, the ward door opened and out popped the ward doctor, who Bella thought looked rather young. He seemed a little worried and was quite rushed off his feet. He sat opposite Bella as Bella prepared herself for the worst.
Bella, right? You have come to see Antonio.
The doctor said. Bella nodded and tried to smile. It was not much use her smiling. The doctor could clearly see Bella was in distress, but it seemed he did not have time to reassure her.
Bella, I am afraid Antonio is resting now. The accident was quite serious. I think you might want to drop by next week or in a couple of days.
Bella put her hand to her face in frustration.
How bad is it, doctor?
As far as we can assess, he has a concussion, facial fractures, internal bleeding, and some dislocations. It seemed he had come off his bike as he skidded in the rain. He must have rolled over a few times on the road and went head first into a tree, and that is what witnesses have been telling us.
Bella felt faint. She understood some of the doctor's terms, but in the back of her mind, those words all meant Antonio was in severe pain. The thing that worried her most was the concussion. Perhaps supporting someone physically could be tolerable, but would he be the same mentally?
How long do you think he will be in for?
Bella asked.
Could be a couple of weeks. We'll need several operations and therapy sessions. He is a strong man. I can see that he will recover. It just takes a matter of time and plenty of rest.
Bella turned her face away from the doctor. She was trying hard not to cry. She knew it was no use hiding the anguish, but she could not keep her composure.
I don't know why I let him on that stupid bike. I don't know why I did not stop him.
Bella growled.
It's not your fault. Do you want to speak to someone about emotional support?
I am okay. I have got to be strong for him, if you don't mind. My daughter is on the way. I will wait for her.
Okay, if you need anything, please just ask. I will be nearby. We will contact you if there are any more developments. I have your details on this form. Can I check this is the number to reach you on? Plus, is this also the correct address?
Bella looked at the form and nodded her head. The doctor quickly got up and rushed back into the wards, obviously to attend to more patients. Bella just sat outside the ward. She felt more alone than she could ever feel. She was in new territory, and she felt shocked.
What do I do now? I have no clue.
Bella thought. Another door opened, and Lucia walked in.
Mama.
Lucia cried. Lucia rushed over to where Bella was sitting, and Bella got up to cuddle her daughter. They both began to cry for what seemed like ages. They did not care who was watching, but their grief was real. Bella sat down and explained things to her daughter.
Mama, they are right. We can't just rush in now. We need to give him time. Besides, he is not going anywhere.
Lucia said in a confident tone.
Lucia, I don't know what to do,
said Bella.
Mama, let's make sure they draw up a hospital discharge plan. Dad is not going to be in hospital forever. We need to know how to care for him.
What's this plan?
Bella looked at Lucia in confusion.
The discharge plan shows why Antonio is receiving care. It should include his medical history and what the outcomes should be.
We can ask for one?
Dad should definitely get one. His injuries are serious. Hopefully, we can get a copy if Antonio is okay with it. We might also need a care plan regarding how we will care for Antonio long term.
After sitting in the hospital discussing what needed to be done, Bella and Lucia headed home. It was not the same at home, and not much was said between them. Bella and Lucia sat in the front room in silence for a while. They were taking it all in, and the realization finally hit home.
Mama, I am going to make some tea. Do you want one?
Bella shook her head, feeling depressed, but as soon as Lucia walked out of the room, Bella changed her mind and wanted something strong.
Okay, Mama.
That night, Bella could not sleep. Over and over again, she just kept imagining Antonio's bike crash. She was wondering how badly he had come off the bike. Bella was too afraid to sleep because she felt she would get nightmares. The doctor's words echoed in her mind, and she wondered how Antonio was in the hospital. Bella turned on her side to look at the alarm clock. It was 1:30 a.m. Bella was not sure how she would go to work the next day. Surely she could not concentrate, and she felt she might snap at someone. The following day, Bella was getting ready for work when Lucia wandered into the room.
What are you doing, Mama?
I am getting ready for work. Need to pay the bills, darling.
No, Mama. Ask for compassionate leave.
What's that? Lucia.
You have just experienced a loved one seriously injured, and you need time to visit them in hospital. You also need some time to heal, otherwise, you cannot function well at work.
Bella stood there feeling slightly embarrassed.
How do I ask for these things? I am afraid my manager will sack me.
If he does that, he will be in serious trouble. I am happy to call work for you.
Okay, darling. I am too upset to talk to my manager now anyway.
Lucia walked off with Bella's mobile phone. Bella slowly followed Lucia to listen to the conversation, which was very short. It seemed her manager, Bob, agreed Bella could have leave and discuss when it was okay to return.
It was as easy as that. I should ask you to get me a pay rise at my workplace.
Bella stood in amazement. Lucia gave Bella her mobile phone back. She did not seem amused.
I am going out to do some shopping. Do you want to come, Mama?
Bella agreed, and they soon went off to the shops, but not much was bought because they both were still trying to save money due to the rising cost of living. It was a week until Bella was called in to see her husband for the first time. Both Bella and Lucia arrived at the hospital, wondering what would be in store for them. As they entered the ward, it took a while for nurses to show them where Antonio was resting. All the staff were very busy, but when Bella asked for help, the staff were very polite. Finally, they arrived to see Antonio. He looked up slowly and did not say a word. He just stared. The nurse warned Bella and Lucia not to rush up and cuddle him as he was still in a lot of pain. Bella, looking at her husband recovering in the bed, began to feel weepy. Bella took up a chair and sat by Antonio's bedside.
Has he been talking?
Lucia asked the nurse.
Yes, but it has been difficult. It's the concussion, it was strong. A scan is needed to see how bad it is.
Both the visitors sat by Antonio's bedside for several hours. Antonio did not say a word and fell asleep most of the time. He lifted his head to look at Bella, but then his head flopped back onto the pillow and he fell asleep again.
Antonio. Don't feel you have to do much to look. You still have to rest.
The nurse called out to him. The nurse then looked at Bella.
His muscles are quite weak, but he is getting stronger.
Has a discharge plan been drawn up as yet?
Lucia asked the nurse.
It certainly will be, but many things need to happen before we finalize such a thing. I believe Bella will be providing some care as the carer.
What's a carer?
Bella asked the nurse.
Hold it, wait a minute. My mama should not be pressured, so she should be offered a carer's assessment.
Lucia interrupted.
What's that?
Bella asked with a worried look.
Mama, if you are able, when Dad is discharged from hospital, he won't be 100%. We will have to make sure we are able to help him around the house. We have to chase up appointments, help him with medication, make sure he gets the right support.
Oh, I don't understand all of this. You have got to help me, Lucia.
Bella cried.
Mama. It's okay, I am there for you.
I never thought this would happen. I never thought it would be me.
Bella thought to herself. After a week, Bella found herself at work. Bob had called her into the office, although Bella was scared out of her wits because Lucia was not present. Lucia always knew what to say, but she could not always fight for her mother. Bella wondered what Bob was going to say. Bob asked Bella to take a seat so they could agree on what needed development.
So, Bella, how are things?
Bob asked Bella, looking straight at her with a concerned look.
It is difficult, Bob. I am still trying to get to grip with things. It could be a month or two before my husband is back home, and I don't know what to do.
Bella said, wondering if Bob had any advice for her. Bob went on and asked Bella if she had been referred to anyone to get advice. Bella mentioned that only a few agencies she has been referred to from the hospital. Still, Lucia, her daughter, had been a great help.
Ah, Lucia, I remembered her from the phone call some time ago. She is a good daughter to you. and without her insight, I might not have given you much work leave.
Bob shrugged his shoulders in apology.
I hope your husband heals okay. What happened to him anyway, if you don't mind me asking?
Motorbike crash. It was raining when he had the accident. He must have skidded in the road and then came off.
Bella explained.
I am sorry, Bella. I truly am. Just hope he is okay.
He is okay, but not 100%. Those at the hospital said it would take time. They also said it would take time for us as a family to heal.
Bella took her eyes off her manager. She could not face the pain of telling someone who could judge her at any moment. Bob noticed Bella look away, and he then decided to look down. He was trying to be sympathetic, but it was not easy. Bella and Bob often clashed at work.
Bella, I am sorry for the situation. However, we are going through a difficult time at work. I need all hands on deck, and I am wondering if you would be able to start work again next week.
Bella thought to herself.
How can he bring up work at a time like this? I do not think he is being very understanding at all.
Bella just decided to nod at Bob's request. She slowly got up from the chair and headed out of the office. Driving back home, Bella could not help process her discussion with Bob over and over again. She was not happy with Bob's behavior. Bella was hoping for a little more time to recover from her traumatic experiences. Bella felt she could talk to her daughter and get her thoughts, and Lucia would know what to do.
I know I need the money. Life is so hard now, but I certainly do not want the stress. I am not sure if I would be able to cope going back to work straight away.
Bella thought to herself as she stopped at the traffic lights. Bella felt even if she had to go back to work, she had to remain strong. She had to set an example to others that she was dependable. Bella also wanted to be a strong mother to Lucia. There was so much responsibility now, so she must take the lead. The problem was, how will Bella be able to achieve this? It was not long before Bella arrived home. She parked her car quickly in order to see if Lucia was home. It would be good to get her advice. Bella opened the front door to let herself in, and Bella smelled food being cooked in the kitchen. So obviously, Lucia was home. Bella felt glad to have good company.
Hello, Lucia. I am home. What are you cooking?
Lucia did not answer Bella's call. So Bella decided to raise her voice slightly.
Lucia. You there, darling?
Hello, Mama. I am cooking. Please come in. I made some for you, and it is your favorite.
A voice said from the kitchen. Bella sniffed the air once again as she headed towards the kitchen. Bella felt a bit better from the awful experience earlier on. It was great to have something of a family. Even though she felt guilty, Antonio was still at the hospital.
Shall we visit Papa at the hospital later?
Bella asked Lucia as Lucia was stirring the pot.
Sure, Mama. How was your day?
Lucia replied. Bella hesitated to speak for a second, but thought she should ask for advice. She knew Lucia would not criticize her, and she knew her daughter wanted to keep the family together.
Oh, it was as expected. My boss wants me to start work again next week.
Bella moaned.
So soon. I hope he talked about flexible hours and what happens when Antonio is discharged from the hospital. We will be caring for him. Bob can't be serious about asking you to do full hours as before.
Bella's face grew red. She did not discuss this with Bob. She did not discuss anything regarding flexible hours. Bella felt so embarrassed she might actually decide to lie to Lucia, but deep down, Bella knew she would pay the price. Bella knew Lucia was right. It would not be long before Bella had to rush home to provide support. It would not be long before Antonio would have a bad day, and Bella could not come into work. Bella wanted to keep her job, but there must be a way to meet in the middle.
Oh dear, we did not discuss flexible working. What should I do, Lucia?
I can talk to him if you want, Mama.
Bella looked ashamed and thought to herself.
This is not what I meant by setting an example, and this is not what I meant by being a strong woman.
Bella stood straight, and with a confident voice she said,
No, I will talk to Bob about this. I will need your support, but there are things I got to do by myself. I have got to learn to put myself first as a carer sometimes.
Lucia picked up a leaflet off the kitchen table.
I got this when I visited the hospital last time. If you look through it, then it can give you some tips.
Bella looked at the booklet, and it was from Carers UK, entitled, Looking After Someone. Bella quickly flicked through the booklet, and straight away her attention was on page 23, Coming Out of Hospital.
This should be useful. I think I will read this on the way to the hospital. Let's eat and then we will head off.
Bella and her daughter sat down to eat, and although worried about the future, they felt together as a family. They were making plans and seeing things through. Maybe there was hope, maybe there was light at the end of the tunnel. It was not long before the big day arrived. Antonio arrived home. It took a long time to walk him to the door, and he was exhausted and could not walk far.
Are you okay, dear? Let me help you.
Bella grabbed onto Antonio's arm as she supported him to the front door.
No. I can do this. I have got to learn.
Antonio complained. He slowly pushed Bella's arm away and moved towards the door himself, and he winced in pain as he tried to rush to the door.
Darling, be careful.
Bella felt powerless as she watched him struggle to the door. Bella felt sad at what her husband was reduced to. She felt guilty for judging Antonio, but she could not help it. She felt at least she could contain her thoughts, but she dared not tell him what she was thinking. She dared not show any emotional signs of feeling upset. Bella knew Antonio did not want to depend on her or Lucia. She knew he wanted his life back. Antonio managed to open the front door and hobbled down the passageway towards the living room.
The place has changed so much. Is this our house?
Antonio paused for a moment.
Yes, it has always been like this, don't you remember?
Antonio looked around the place. He felt confused and unsure if someone was playing a trick on him.
No, it can't be. How is it possible?
Antonio said to himself. It was not long before Antonio burst into tears.
I can't remember. I can't remember anything. I am useless.
No. Antonio, don't say that. No one is thinking things like that.
Bella interrupted Antonio before he said anything else damaging to himself.
Antonio, let's sit down and rest. Just give it time to settle in. This is our place. You are home now.
I can't remember. I can't. I don't know. Let me sit down. I need to think. I need to rest.
Antonio quickened his pace towards the sofa. He fell back on the sofa in pain. His face was all red as he gripped the sofa to try and withstand the pain shooting through his body.
Antonio, don't overexert yourself. I am here to help you.
Antonio did not say anything, and he then put his hand to his face in despair. Bella walked towards the TV to turn it on. Maybe something to take his mind off things.
No, darling, turn it off. I want to think. I am a little tired.
Antonio mumbled. Within an instant, Bella turned off the TV only to turn around and see her husband lying flat on the sofa. She knew he was trying hard to adjust to a new life. Crippled with physical pain, God knows what was going on in his mind. She knew things would be difficult, but what could she say? What could she do?
Do you want me to sit with you?
Antonio did not say anything. His eyes were closed as he looked up at the ceiling. Bella could see a tear slide down his cheek. Bella knew Antonio was upset. She went upstairs quietly and took out a bedsheet from the cupboard. She rushed back down the stairs and covered Antonio, who was fast asleep.
What do I do? I am not trained for this.
Bella thought to herself. She took herself upstairs and sat on the bed, lost in thought. While Bella sat there, her head began to spin. It was like she was thinking in different directions. What would she do when Antonio woke up? What would she do when he needed to eat? What about work the next day? Bella fell back on the bed and put her wrist to her head. She was sweating.
Oh, I don't feel so well.
Bella mumbled and then fell asleep. About an hour later, Bella could hear the door open. It must be Lucia, thought.
Lucia, is that you?
Yes, Mama. I have just come back from studying. How is Papa?
Bella got up from the bed slowly and walked downstairs. To see Lucia waiting for her.
Are you okay, Bella? You look really tired.
Lucia asked her.
I have been overthinking. It should not be this hard, but I am forever worrying about what could go wrong. Antonio seems really confused at times, and I am not sure what to say to him, in case it sparks off an argument.
Just then, a voice rang out from the living room.
Who's out there?
It was Antonio, who could overhear Bella and Lucia talking.
It's us, Antonio. It's Lucia and Bella. We'll come to meet you.
Both Lucia and Bella walked into the living room to see Antonio lying flat on the sofa. Antonio struggled to sit up, but Bella eventually wandered over and propped him to sit. Antonio stared at Bella.
Thank you all for continuing to visit me in the hospital. I cannot remember how long I was in there for.
It does not matter now, you are home,
Bella said.
Are you hungry, Papa? I will go cook something now.
Lucia walked off to the kitchen while Bella sat next to Antonio.
Would you be able to help me upstairs to bed? If it is a struggle, please bring the bedsheets downstairs. I know you are very tired.
Antonio asked Bella. Bella smiled at Antonio. She knew she might struggle, but for that moment she felt he needed her. It was odd that Antonio usually asked Bella for anything. He was self-reliant, but things were different now. Bella nodded at Antonio, who was still in pain.
I can try.
Just then, Lucia came in with a plate of pasta and placed the plate down on a tray for Antonio.
Here, let me help you,
Bella said while reaching for the cutlery to feed Antonio, but instead he pushed her arm away. Antonio said nothing and tried in vain to lift the fork. He then tried to put the fork in his mouth, but it was slow and painful, and Antonio panted due to the pain.
It's better if you help me, sorry.
Antonio pleaded. Bella slowly reached for the fork and helped feed her husband, and Lucia went back into the kitchen to bring some to drink.
Am I doing this right, Antonio?
Antonio just nodded, but after a few mouthfuls of food, he had enough.
I feel awful at complaining early. I am wondering how to get well again, get my life back.
Bella did not say anything and just listened. She was too worried she might upset him. Antonio was so busy complaining that it almost seemed like he was just talking to himself.
You are not talking to yourself, are you?
Bella softly asked Antonio.
Oh, I was lost in thought, moaning about my fate. What time is it?
It's nearly 7 in the evening.
Antonio tried to get up.
Help me up. I need to go to the commode toilet.
Bella panicked.
It's not here. Why have they not given those equipment yet?
Well, it's upstairs for me then.
Antonio muttered.
Will we make it?
Bella rushed to lift Antonio. She felt her back strain a bit.
Let's try, Lucia. We need some help.
Yes, Papa? What's wrong?
Lucia came running in.
I need to go to the loo, but there is no commode. We have to go upstairs. I will try to hold it.
Even with Lucia's help, it was a struggle. Antonio was in too much pain. He could hardly move that much up the stairs. His muscles were so weak. It must have taken 2 minutes to get to the top of the stairs. It did not help that with every third step up the stairs, Antonio would yelp in pain. Still, no matter what happened, he did well to wait for the toilet. As Antonio relieved himself, he muttered something in Italian, but it did not make any sense. Bella looked at Lucia with a puzzled look, while Lucia looked at Bella.
What was that all about?
Bella asked Lucia.
He's not well. It's the concussion. I read about it in one of the NHS booklets.
What do we do?
Bella asked Lucia while trying to make sure Antonio did not hear them.
We need to check up with the doctor. Let's see what they say. I think it will be long-term, though.
Lucia said to Bella.
Long-term? How would we cope?
Lucia sighed.
Let's get a carer's assessment done. We were promised at least it would help plan things for what we need.
What? Who will do that for us?
The local authority or the local carers center. It's a form to assess what we need, and boy, don't we need it.
Can you help me with this, Lucia?
Of course. What do you think a family is for?
Okay, so we need to wait for the rest of the equipment because I can't keep carrying Antonio up and down the stairs. I will do my back in. It's hurting already.
Let's speak to someone at Carers UK. It is a national charity supporting carers.
Why? Will they send someone to look after Antonio?
No, Mama, but we can get advice about support. Plus, we really ought to complain to the hospital. It is our right as carers, and they should have provided these things before discharging Papa.
Bella swore under her breath.
I never knew it would be like this. I would not give much or a hoot if this happened to someone else, but it's happened to me. Never thought it would be me.
Bella looked at the floor in guilt because of her outburst.
I am sorry.
Don't be. It's natural for someone caring to get bouts of low mood. Don't be guilty of doing something natural. No one is fully prepared to care, not when resources are so thin on the ground.
Lucia said with a smile on her face.
So, how do you keep it all in? Why am I the only one complaining?
I don't keep it all in, I just express it in different ways anyhow. One problem at a time.
The next day Bella was at work. She was not concentrating that well, but this time it was Lucia's turn to look after Antonio. Bob kept coming in to observe Bella, but he did not say much. Until when he entered the office the third time, he asked if Bella could do an extra shift. Bella fell silent. She knew from the discussion before that she should not be put under any more pressure at work.
Bob, can we have a serious discussion? Antonio is at home, and even though my daughter is helping, I will need support to carry out my caring duties. It would help if I could have flexible working hours.
Bob stared, but he knew if he made a noise, then Bella would give up and let Lucia do the talking. Bob knew Lucia understood so much about carers' rights. He was not prepared to mess with her.
Okay. Let's have a meeting in 5 minutes. God forbid I might need caring myself.
Bob mumbled. After hearing Bob come to terms, Bella knew caring would just get a little bit easier.